Hello there, my RPG lovers, and welcome to another video. It's been almost a year since I made a video of this type. Ever since then, I never actually caught myself playing more than a couple of RPGs at once because it can be really counterproductive for my channel. Especially if I'm doing some analysis videos, reviews, or anything else that requires my full attention. So even though I get tempted a lot to play more games on a regular basis, I try to keep it under control. However, things sometimes don't go as planned. As of lately, I started playing and replaying a lot of RPGs simply because I had more free time on my hands. Anyway, this will be a pretty casual video where I talk about RPGs I'm currently playing, so let's not waste any more time. Number 5. Ys 9. When this video goes public, Ys 9 should be released on all platforms. It's not a secret that I don't play a lot of JRPGs, and if you're following this channel, you probably know that. But I have a lot of love for Ys games, and it's probably my most favorite JRPG series ever. They have a great action combat system and some crazy boss fights. The story is also always interesting, and it follows the life of an adventurer called Adult Christian and a couple of his close friends. But every Ys game have unique characters that will join you in your party, and the story is not told in a chronological order, which means that you don't need to play previous games in order to enjoy Ys 9. The game is set within a huge city, which is a drastic change compared to the previous game, which was set on a big island. I actually just started playing this game, so I can't really speak in depth about it. But it's really obvious to me that it's not a huge departure from the previous game, at least when it comes to the gameplay. And that was to be expected because Ys 8 had a great gameplay. But that doesn't mean that Ys 9 doesn't have some brand new features. Actually, the game will immediately hit you in the face with these new features. Adol gets cursed and he turns into a monstrum which alters his abilities, and he also gets some brand new ones. For example, you're now able to climb walls and glide through air. Being a monstrum is the whole theme of the game that's obviously not just related to the gameplay, but to the story as well. I'm really curious about the whole game and I can't wait to invest more hours in it. To be honest, I don't expect it to be as good as the previous game, but I think it's going to be an enjoyable experience regardless of that. I might even do a review when I'm done with the game, if I manage to find the time for that. Number 4. Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV is not exactly a game that you would expect to see on this channel, simply because I don't cover MMORPGs, but you probably didn't know that I have a long history with MMOs. I've played World of Warcraft for about 12 years and I casually played some other famous MMOs. I don't know if you noticed or not, but Final Fantasy XIV has been popping off lately and I really wanted to see what's the hype all about. Before that, I was never actually interested in this particular MMO, to be honest, probably because I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy games in general. And I never expected to get hooked on this game, I just wanted to try it out for myself. Welp, I invested about 40 hours in the game in just a couple of days so far. It's not an insane amount of hours, especially for an MMO, but at this rate I will hit the max level a lot faster than I expected. I really want to play as a Dark Knight because it looks really cool, and I've seen some crazy looking two-handed swords. Yeah, believe it or not, that's one of my main motivations when I'm playing any MMO. I mean, just look at this guy, dude. But in order to play as a Dark Knight, I first need to finish the main story quest up to a certain point, and I'm not too far away from that. My warrior is level 56 at the moment, and I'm also enjoying this job as well. Yeah, if you didn't know, Final Fantasy calls them jobs for some reason. Anyway, the story is a big part of this MMO, and a lot of Final Fantasy XIV players and content creators as well will tell you that you should pay attention to the story. But honestly, I quickly lost interest in the story because of the lack of voice acting. So I'm not saying the story is bad, I just can't read walls of text in an MMORPG, I mean, come on. That doesn't mean that I won't get to experience it, I'm actually considering to pay attention on a New Game Plus or just watch some videos about it. And like I said, I didn't expect to like this game so much, so that's another reason why I didn't pay close attention to the story. However, I absolutely love this game so far, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't upload anything in the past week. I might even do some videos about it in the near future. Number 3. Bleak Fate Forsaken. Bleak Fate Forsaken has been in development for quite some time now. I have followed the development of this game ever since 2019, and I got to play the first prototype back then. Fast forward to 2021, I got the opportunity to play the second demo of the game just a couple of days ago. A lot of features that will be in the final game are not present in the demo. There is a big disclaimer about this in the beginning, so keep that in mind. There are 3 different classes to choose from, and I played through the whole demo with all of them. It's not a very long demo, it's actually pretty short, but it's just enough to get a good feel of the game. You get to try out different skills from all the classes, and you fight a couple of bosses. The thing I'm always worried about when it comes to any RPG that's focused on the third-person action combat is the controls. Does it feel good to control your character? Is the movement stiff or floaty? Is the combat impactful? Are the animations good? Etc, etc. I won't go in depth about this demo here because I'm working on a dedicated video that should come out soon. However, I'm happy to say that the gameplay in the demo is pretty solid, even though it definitely has some problems, which was to be expected. My favorite part about the combat was different skills that I got to try out, especially from the Technomagus character. But yeah, like I said, there is still a lot of polishing that needs to be done in order for this gameplay to feel really good. I like the level design of this demo area, it's interconnected and vertical with a great unsettling atmosphere. The developers are relying on environmental storytelling, and based on this area, I think they did a pretty good job. Bleak Fate Forsaken actually has an open world, but the demo is set within a small area. You can see a lot more opened areas in the previous update videos if you want to. Anyway, I'm looking forward to play the full version of this game, but I hope the developers take their time and not try to rush it. Number 2. Dragon's Dogma. If you're watching my videos on a regular basis, you're probably kinda tired of hearing about this game. The reason why I'm playing it again is because I got it on my Switch not so long ago. I have obviously played it on my PC, but I really like the fact that I can play some of my most favorite RPGs while relaxing on my bed. That's the same reason why I'm playing Kingdoms of Amalur and Skyrim on my Switch as well. However, that's not the only reason why I started another playthrough of Dragon's Dogma. I plan to do a video about it in the near future, so I need to remind myself of some things from the game. This time around I'm playing as an archer vocation. And no matter how many times I start playing this game, I'm always amazed by the quality of combat mechanics and attention to detail in the gameplay. That's probably the reason why it kinda lacks on other fields like the storytelling and some other features, but that's not a problem to me. I like when games excel in the things they focus on, and I think that's really important. And Dragon's Dogma definitely focuses on combat a lot, so I'm ready to forgive other problems which the game has if it's great at what it does the best. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, I'm still pretty early in the game, it's because I'm taking my time. I'm playing about an hour or 2 every day, and when I'm done, I'll start working on that video I mentioned. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say when it comes to this game, and if you want, you can watch a couple of videos I did specifically for Dragon's Dogma. Number 1. ELEX. Well, this was kinda obvious. ELEX 2 got announced not so long ago, so the first thing I wanted to do is to play ELEX 1 again. The first big reason for that is a video I want to do about ELEX 1 that should be helpful for new players of this game and everyone who wants to try out ELEX 2 when it comes out. To be honest, I could have done that even without replaying the first game again, but I really wish to refresh my memory a bit. This time around I'm playing as a cleric because it's the faction that I don't remember playing a lot in the past. If you're one of the OG subscribers, you know that ELEX 1 basically put my channel on the map back in 2017. I've made a lot of guides and tips for that game, so you can check that out as well. But only if you can handle the autistic audio quality of those videos. Like the damage speed and the range, there's also a couple of things you might didn't notice between those two melee playstyles. Anyway, my previous video on the channel was about the latest gameplay footage of ELEX 2. I talked about my first impressions of the combat, and I did some comparisons with ELEX 1. You guys have left a ton of comments about the combat, and unsurprisingly, a lot of those were negative. A lot of people can't get into these games because of the janky combat system, and I completely understand that. I have the impression that some people have problems with the core design philosophy of these games, rather than combat itself. To put things into perspective, even if these games had an amazing action combat system, like in Dragon's Dogma or Monster Hunter for example, the core design of the gameplay wouldn't change. You would still get easily killed in the beginning by almost everything because it's just how the progression system works. And you either like that or not. The progression is heavily relying on players' equipment rather than player skill. But even though that's the case, you can still kill everything in the game on the hardest difficulty with the crappiest weapon if you learn how the mechanics work. You would need the patience of the gods though, but it's still possible to do, like I tried to showcase in my older videos. I have talked about different progression systems on the channel quite a bit, so check out those videos if you're interested. I got carried away a little bit, but yeah, like I said, I'm trying to refresh my memory with ELEX 1 so that I know what I'm talking about in the upcoming videos. And it goes without saying that I'll be covering ELEX 2 in depth when it comes out, so stick around if you want to see that. And those would be the 5 RPGs that I'm currently playing. Tell me what you guys are playing in the comments below. Do you stick with only one game until you're completely done, or do you jump from game to game? Don't forget to subscribe for more RPG content. If you want to support the channel in the long run, consider becoming a Patreon or a YouTube member. You can get your name on the end credits, as well as some other perks like early access to videos, Discord roles, my plans for future content, etc, etc. That will be all, and I'll see you in the next one.